Hello everybody, Douglas Pro Tommy Williams here. We just come off the road from the Oneida Lake tournament, the #5 stop Bassmaster Open. We had another little bit of a tough tournament. We salvaged the year a little bit, I think. I've still got a little bit of daylight out to where I feel like I can still qualify for the elites at the end of the year. We had 2 bad tournaments previously, and we didn't have a stellar finish in this one, but we survived it, and surviving it seems to be kind of what we have got to do here at this point in time. I went up there to fish for smallmouth. You know, that is a smallmouth lake, obviously, but there is some largemouth that live in it, which I seem to have been able to survive with. I was up there last year trying to find the smallmouth, and this is the second year I've been up there and I've not been able to do it. For some strange reason, me and that lake and the way that those smallmouth orientate in that lake, I'm not able to get with that. And I'm going to admit defeat on it, but there's enough largemouth in there that you can survive. Old Southern boy can go up there and catch them. There's just enough dirty water and just enough largemouth in there that you can put enough fish together on it. I went in and, like I said, I spent 6 days fishing out in the big water for the smallmouth. Everything from top water to 40 feet. I look for suspended fish, fish in the grass, fish on the rock piles, fish on the isolated boulders, fish on this, that, and the other. And I just never could put enough of them together to make me confident enough to go out and catch 5, much less 2 or 3. So it was just an inevitable situation that I had to go to the bank. Once I got to the bank and noticed that the largemouth were there, they're just not quite as big, but there's enough of them, as I was saying. I found some creeks that fit more my style, found some marinas that had some fish in them, and there weren't exactly very big areas, not very big areas at all, but what we did find out is a very key factor in finding these fish is they were crawfishing. Even the smallmouth on the lake, they were either eating an eelfly larvae of a morning or they were getting crawfish and a little bitty green perch, but the shad bite really wasn't there, and it wasn't there for the largemouth either. The reason I copped on to that is as I was going up the creeks, you know, and I'm not saying that they were clean by no means, but they weren't really dirty either, but you could see down about far. I got to noticing I could see the largemouth on the bank with their nose right up against the bank with their backs out of the water. There's only one reason they're doing that. They're rooting crawfish. Anytime you can see those bass on the bank with their backs out of the water, laying on their side, rooting like carp, they're crawfishing, and they're crawfishing hard. So we got our flipping stick out and we went to work on them. I caught on the first day, I went out, had 14 pounds and 8 ounces, 1410 or something like that. I caught probably 15 keepers that day. I had the Douglas film crew was there. I had Don and so they were filming me. They got some really good footage. We're going to go ahead and try to get some of that edited in there. I think they're going to kind of help me with this. We're going to see how this works out. This is the 3rd time we're going to give this a try. Hopefully we can get it together right this time. But we got some neat fish catches. We got some misses that I want to talk to you about also. One of the things that we were having trouble with, or I was having trouble with, is once I could see that fish on the bank and he would be squared up with his nose up into something rooting around, they were very spooky and you had to sneak up on them. I mean, you literally almost had to, you crouched down and you snuck up on him because if he saw you or he heard that trolling, he was going to scoop, and they were very spooky about that. And if you made a bad pitch on top of him, he was going to scoop. So you had to pitch up on the bank. Pitch it all the way up on the bank and just ease it into the water. And as soon as it got in the water in front of him, they'd run clean up on the bank and get it. And then you could, and then do business with him when he did that. But if you let him know you was coming or he turned and looked at you, that fish was gone. You never could get him. They'd grab it by the tail. And I'm talking 4-pound fish. Grab it by the middle of the back of the pinchers and just swim off. When you're sitting there watching him swim with it, you're going, that's top 10 cut going right there. He ain't got the hook in his mouth. It was yeah. Nevertheless, what we done with it, we used that Douglas rod, that 765 flipping stick, and we put it to work again. Same old creature baits. It really didn't matter. Color, the crawfish were dark. I turned some rocks over, and that's another little thing you need to learn to do. Turn some rocks over at night, shine a flashlight on them. They were brown and green. Had just a touch of orange on them, not too much. Too much to worry about, but they were dark. They were dark colors. So I went with a Sweet Beaver, the 420 and the California 420 side, and I mean, it matched the crawls up. Straight shank hook. I got a lot of bites on this thing that I was missing at first, but until I figured out they were grabbing it by the tail. Went to a round bend, short shank round bend hook, the tow car, and that done the job on them. I mean, I had missed a few fish with using an offset Kale style hook, and it didn't work. I went to the straight shank hook and got a whole lot better bites, and I was just using the regular knot. I wasn't going through with the snell and all that. No, 3/16 ounce sinker. That's the one that got them for me right there. I caught in this tournament alone. I probably caught 25 or 30 keeper fish in the last 2 days. I had 15 pounds and 4 ounces of them on the second day, and I caught them all on that right there. I've got some good footage of it. I want to show y'all here in a little bit as we go through the video. We're trying to edit some of the catches into it and just kind of show you some of the areas that I was fishing in and how I was approaching them through this whole thing. You was going up a creek, and if there was a great big log jam or a big laydown or something like there, and you was like, he gonna be right there. Well, he wasn't. Even just a little touch of current that was in the creek did not put those fish tight to anything. They were out and they were loose. And the reason I figured that out was the first morning. It was a little cloudy, a little overcast. And the first morning I went up, the first spot I went up it with a single bladed spinnerbait, one of my Tommy bugs, and I blasted them. I mean, it was pretty good. I caught several fish on it. They were dead shallow. I mean, dead on the bank. I was just using my plain old River Special, little single 1/4 ounce blade, number 4 Colorado. Nothing special, just my little River Special T-bug. And I caught them. I caught like a 4-pounder on like the 10th cast, and I was like, oh, good Lord, I was in here catching them on flipping. But they loosened up, and them fish never did tighten up, and that kind of hurt the flipping bite, because I spent a lot of time looking in those trash piles for those fish, especially with a little current running. The walleye moved into them, but the bass left them. And the bass was actually, if you could find a spot that had 2 or 3 laydowns, that was great. But if the spaces between them, it was kind of like fishing docks. They left the docks and went to the bank between the docks, the little open areas, the sneaky one that nobody ever checks. The one that'll get you every time. They just moved out in the open between the stuff. And if I hadn't found that, if I was going to go in and solely flip for them, I'd have had to catch them out of the marinas, because I couldn't have caught them any other way until I got to seeing them on the banks. Now, once you got to seeing them on the banks, that pretty much so opened the door for you, and you could get them then. But you had to be sneaky. You had to be real sneaky about it. I had some missed fish, and that was a big deal. The missed fish kind of hurt me. I've got some footage of them. There's one that you can see me pitching 2 or 3 times, and you can actually see when that fish grabbed the bait by the back, and I didn't know it at the time. He was down just enough. I just felt him hit it, thump, set the hook on the air, whop, had come back with nothing, and look, and he's still sitting there, and he's just swimming around. You can see him on the film right in the corner of the footage. You can see he's just a black streak in there. He's just still swimming around, and I never got him to come back on it. But that was a 4-pound fish, and I turned around and was going up the bank on the other side, and just pitched along to a little patch of grass. When I pitched it in, a 5-pounder just comes out, mouth closed, and just knocks it sideways and just swims back down the grass. And I punch holes into it like Swiss cheese, and never got him to come back on it. But that fish hit it with a mouth closed. I seen him come up, swim right past it with his mouth closed, never wanted it. Those 2 fish right there would have been nice. We're talking, a couple pound upgrade. That might have put me into, well in the check range, but we'd have been knocking on cut door if the fish that we could see actually grabbed it and it just missed them, that could have got a hook in them. So there was enough largemouth there, not to win it, but you could have done well with them. And that was pretty good. I was impressed with myself to be able to go up there and catch the largemouth out of that hole the way it is. And I didn't really give myself any practice for it at all. I was I was looking for the smallmouth, you know, and we just didn't get along. But anyway, the my spinnerbait rod, of course, Douglas rod, 715, same one I've been throwing, you know, 15-pound mono, nothing special. That's my setup. My flipping stick, especially in the marinas, whopped them, 765 Douglas rod, 20-pound mono on it. I mean, what else do you want? It works, man. I mean, mono's been working for 40 years, and they ain't got it wrong yet. So we're headed for the Chesapeake Bay. Come on. Tidal water again. Rivers. Hopefully this one and the next one, I've got some light at the end of the tunnel on this. I can actually look down and say, I've got a shot at making this. I pulled myself out of this hole. I think I finished in the low 50s on this one. I had a little over 30 pounds. I had 15 for the second day, and 14 and 14 something on the first day. But it was enough to better than what I felt like I was going to do with the tournament. I don't know what the upper Chesapeake Bay is going to fish like. I've been doing a little bit of research on it, and I'm looking forward to doing this. But the one after that is the Red River. That's going to fish my style. It's going to be September. It's going to be hot. It's going to be nasty. And it's going to be tough. And that's Ohio River, and that's me. And we're going to the upper Chesapeake, and I think it's going to be hot, and I think it's going to be nasty, and I think it's going to be me. So we're going to go up there and give it a shot. We're going to get started on it like right now with our research and our map study. So guys, y'all take care and keep an eye on me for the Chesapeake Bay. It's coming up in about 3 weeks from now. Hopefully the Douglas rods is going to have some really good footage. That we're going to have some commercials, hopefully, or some clips with that. That's got because you know they showed up at the right time. You know, it's just one of the camera boat usually is either the jinx or the feast of the famine. Well, we got it this time. We finally got it right. So be looking forward to that, guys. We will see you at the upper Chesapeake Bay in about 3 weeks. Y'all take care.